Days to go until Grey Cup Sunday. Both Toronto and BC appear primed for the big game.
You want all three phases playing well. That's what we, plan on doing in the game, of bringing our best game. And if we're able to do that, we're confident enough and we feel that we can win.
The Boatmen have no shortage of confidence as they look to run the playoff table in Ottawa.
What's up to y'all? How y'all doing? We're trying to get this victory right here, you know what I'm saying?
Meanwhile, the West Division champs want to show everyone why they are the favorites in the 92nd Grey Cup.
Got the best quarterback in the league. Best linebacker.
No bankruptcies, stable ownership, great fan interest league-wide. No wonder Tom Wright's smiling. The commissioner checks in with his State of the League address. You all know Jason Claremont's hard side. Now meet his clean side. It's all next on Wendy's CFL Live at the Grey Cup. Well, all's quiet right now at Frank Clair Stadium, but it won't be for long. Grey Cup weekend is officially underway on Friday night in the nation's capital as we welcome you inside the Aberdeen Pavilion, the site of the Urban Mail Magazine Grey Cup Bash, which is in high gear now. People started rolling in from Toronto and out west. I'm sure Schultz and the places, you can feel the atmosphere now, can't you?
Heck yeah.
Chris Schultz, Jock Climbey, and our guest analyst all this week, Ottawa Renegades head coach Joe Powpow. We'll get to the boys in just a minute, but first, let's start with the reports from both teams, West and the East, and we're going to start with the BC Lions, who last night, you probably know by now, had two members of their offense win CFL awards. Jason Claremont, Outstanding Canadian. Casey Printers, Outstanding Player. We could go on down the list with all the guys in their offense. And G. Roy Simon and Antonio Warren. Yeah. But Schultz, what wins championships?
Defense.
Defense is right. So let's talk a little defense, and that's exactly what we sent Farhan Lalji to do.
The BC Lions may not have the best secondary in the CFL, but they certainly have the most improved. A pair of rookie corners and a first-year starter at safety initially gave fans in Vancouver cause for concern, but not anymore.
It was always there. You go through a process of trying to gel with your teammates and being a cohesive unit. I think that was one of the main reasons why it seemed as if we struggled early on in the season.
In my opinion, I don't really think I struggled as much as everybody made it seem at the beginning, but I just continued to work hard and get better and try to execute what the coaches put out for us to do.
Well, if they hadn't improved as much as they had, we wouldn't be here.
BC's DBs have heard all about the Argos' speed at receiver, but believe they can match up with any group in the league. Nonetheless, they are not convinced they have their opponent's respect and expect Damon Allen to go after selected targets.
Oh, definitely. And I hope he does, because I've had some opportunities this year to get my hands on some balls, and I haven't got as many as I wanted. Damon's going to come after me for sure, and why wouldn't he?
What we have to do is to try to counter that speed with trying to be physical. Also, our defensive line and our front, I think we need to get a lot of pressure on Damon. I'll try to make him hold the ball, confuse him a little bit.
Who's the one guy you got to take away?
It is no one guy. They got a plethora of great receivers, so we just got to go out there and just be perfect.
A week ago against the Riders, the Lions used 7 defensive backs to defend the Riders' 6 receiver sets, but with Toronto rarely playing with an empty backfield, the Lions will go back to dressing 6 defensive backs. Tony Walker will come out. Linebacker Joe On Armour will likely dress. The extra linebacker is also needed because both Carl Kidd and Otis Floyd are playing while nursing injuries. Farhan Lalji, TSN.
Thanks very much, Farhan. Head coach of the BC Lions, Wally Buono, is a man of faith. That's a very important part of his life, and actually it's his faith that he showed in some players that's really paid off for him.
Well, Dave, the whole coaching staff for the BC Lions, they stuck to their convictions about who they brought into training camp, and they stuck with these kids the entire season. The 2 cornerbacks, Sam Young, Dante Marsh, early this year got burned consistently through the first 3 games. But more than that, Freddie Moore, the left tackle. I remember a game early against Joe Montford, and Montford was going around the edge 100 miles an hour. Freddie Moore did not look like a professional left tackle. And how about Duncan O'Mahony? Started 2-7 this year. Now he's one of the best kickers there is. But all 4 of those guys improved as this season went on, and I credit the head coaching staff for understanding that they would improve. And it's one of the reasons they stuck with those kids that they're here today, Coach.
Yeah, and well, Chris, as strong as that BC line defense looked, there are weaknesses. There's always weaknesses. And when you're a receiver preparing for a particular defense, you're always looking for one thing. You're looking for the guys you can victimize. You're looking for the guy in man-to-man coverage who you can beat. And last week we saw Mark Washington be the victim. And in fact, Henry Burris lit him up for a couple of key touchdowns. One here to Thurman. Mark Washington is a guy who's normally a strong one-to-one guy, but he gave up this key out pattern here to Dominguez late in the game that almost sealed it for Saskatchewan. So you know Toronto receivers are going to be looking at that, Coach. Carl Kidd's another guy at linebacker. Hey, you like 20 Miles against that matchup? You bet.
Well, Jock, we're talking about the Toronto receivers and we're talking about the defensive backs with the BC Lions, but I think the key is going to be the guy that's going to have the ultimate say, and that's the quarterback, Damon Allen. He's really historically has played well in these type of games, and he's really going to, Dave, make the difference of who's going to have the upper hand. Defensive backs with the BC Lions or the receivers of Toronto.
Yeah, it made a difference in 2000, didn't he, Jack?
Will you stop bringing it up between the two of you?
Okay.
I can't just get
all right.
I can't.
Speaking of Damon Allen and the Argos, let's talk about them for a moment here, as they, of course, had their last full practice on Friday as well, putting finishing touches on their game preparation. Serious stuff, folks, but you sure couldn't tell, as you're about to see. And actually, the Argos got a little surprise at practice. They were visited by a former star of the Double Blue, and Brent Wallace has that story.
2 days before the big game, the Argos received an inspirational talk from longtime CFL quarterback J.C. Watts. Watts told the Boatmen, take advantage of this opportunity.
You know, good competition is good competition, and I'm looking forward to a good game, but Toronto's my pick.
You know, he said some encouraging things. He talked about his own experience and his own regrets of not winning championship games, but you know, it was very sound, and you know, it was really nice to see him, really.
Even though the Grey Cup is quickly approaching, Toronto continues to remain relaxed and carefree. It's a recipe the Argos have used all season.
You know, to this point, why change? You know, we talked about this week of, you know, guys relaxing and, you know, not allowing any distractions. But, you know, when we get on the practice field, you know, we do the things we've been doing all year.
One area that hasn't garnered much attention but could become a deciding factor in the game is Toronto's receiving corps. An injury-plagued regular season at both receiver and quarterback has the Argos ranked last in the league in passing yards per game. But they think their group of receivers are as good as any in the league.
I think we can do it all. We can block, we can catch, we can do everything. And you know the numbers game is kind of, it doesn't represent how we play the game.
If recent history is any indication, then Toronto may not have to light it up in the air in order to win. 3 out of the last 4 years, the team that has thrown for fewer passing yards has won the Grey Cup. Brent Wallace, TSN.
Thanks, Brent. What, does J.C. Watts look good?
Real good.
Yeah, looks great. He was in town to be inducted into the Ottawa Sports Hall of Fame. Happened last night, as, of course, everybody knows he was a big star here as well. The Argos, Schultze, how loose are they?
You know, Dave, from the outside, this looks ridiculous. It almost looks unprofessional. But you have to understand, pro football players, especially veteran pro football players, they know how to turn it on and turn it off. And what is it? It's the aggressiveness, the intensity, the concentration they need to prepare and to perform come game day. Don't let it fool you. This Toronto Argonaut football team is ready. They're ready to play football. What you saw, that's a facade. That's not the real team, Coach.
Well, Chris, you know, you hit it on the nail. They're an extension of their coach, and you know they've had 2 intense practices during the course of the week, and this is the 3rd day of preparation. As a head coach, you want to keep them loose, you want to keep them confident, and have visualized success. And this is the day when you got to slow it down, Jock.
Yeah, for sure, and try not to think about what's gone in the past and focus on the future. And you heard some of the players talking about the numbers, and yes, they're a maligned group on offense in Toronto because of their passing numbers. But, you know, that receiving corps should not be taking any of the blame. I think this is a top-quality receiving corps. 3 guys who are easily capable of 1,000 yards. Of course, Baker got 1,000 yards, but he was the only Argo receiver in the top 20. Now, with Bruce and Miles, 2 also 1,000-yard receivers. They need Damon Allen to get them the football. Damon was hurt a lot of the year. I think that's why some of their numbers suffered. But hey, make no mistake about it, this is a core, a group of guys who are capable of lighting it up in the air.
And Arland Bruce, is he hot or what? He's been a key factor in both the wins over Hamilton and, of course, Montreal on special teams as well. So watch out for number 5 in the double blue. Time for a quick break here in Ottawa. When we come back, we're going to let Glenn Suter chat to the commissioner of the Canadian Football League, Tom Wright. Welcome Welcome back to CFL Live at the Grey Cup. Friday was the annual Commissioner's State of the League address. The good news is overall attendance is up. Expansion is on the horizon. The bad news is officiating in the league has been heavily criticized over the last several weeks. Our own CFL analyst Glenn Suter sat down with CFL Commissioner Tom Wright.
Tom, let's start with the good news because there's lots of it in the CFL right now. But did you imagine the turnaround in Southern Ontario and BC would happen this quickly?
I don't think anyone could have imagined that it would happen this quickly, but full credit to the BC Lions organization, Toronto Argonauts and Hamilton Tirecats. They've just done a wonderful job in connecting with their fans, providing outstanding entertainment experiences in the stadiums, and revitalizing this game that you and I love so much.
Let's continue on some of that good news. Expansion to 10 teams. Everyone wants to know when it's going to happen, if it can happen. Is it around the corner?
Well, we established in our just recently completed strategic plan that we would like to have a 5th franchise in the East by 2008. And you can, do the math and back that up and understand that we probably have to make a decision in 12 to 18 months. And we've started that process. We're doing our homework. We're making sure that the conditions are right for expansion and making sure that we find the right partners. And we're confident that we can move forward. It's the time has come to take advantage of the momentum that you referenced earlier, Glenn, and make sure that we can take this game across the country.
Some of the challenges now. First and foremost, I think one of the things that people talk about all the time is the salary cap. Maybe not so much as is the salary cap in place, but how do we enforce it to a point where it makes it equal for every team?
Well, Glenn, I think that we all know that our salary cap is not perfect. I don't think it's as broken as many people think. We also know it's a complex issue, and complex issues need to be decided and dealt with from a long-term perspective. And so we are doing that. We've actually made a lot of strides in moving forward. I hope to be in a position next year that we can continue this process, working in conjunction, of course, with our Players Association, something you know about it because you used to be one, and making sure that we've got that level playing field that you're talking about.
Officiating. What's the league doing right now to, I guess, to move forward and improve it? And not that it's been as bad. I think it's had a little more focus this year than any other year, but what's the league doing to improve it and move forward?
It has been a little more on focus, but we are absolutely committed to developing and building the same kind of professionalism and consistency you see on the field of play with not only our players and our coaches, but with our officials as well. For next year, we've tripled our investment in terms of our budget to help in this area. We're looking at instant replay. We've got recruiting drives. We're looking at enhanced digital technology to help provide more feedback and development training for our officials. And we're committed to it. And it's interesting, Glenn, that if you talk to our officials, they're in complete agreement with this. They make about 14,000 calls in an annual, in a season. Yeah. That's a lot of calls. And by far and away, the vast majority are correct. But in the cases where there, with some human error has cropped up, we're committed to make sure that's been minimized.
Thank you very much for this.
It's always a pleasure, Glenn.
Great job over the first 2 years. Keep it up. Let's send it back to Dave.
Thanks, Glenn. Now, one thing that he talked about during his press conference in regards to the officials is instant replay. They haven't made a final decision yet, but they're leaning towards adding some form of instant replay for the 2005 regular season. They've been experimenting with it for the better part of this season. So I'm going to start with the head coach. Joe, what do you think about instant replay coming into the league?
Well, Dave, I think there's mixed emotions about instant replay. I think, with the stoppage of the play, I think everybody wants the right call, fans and even the head coaches. But, in my heart of hearts, I think that, it starts to flow, the spontaneity. And, Chris, it takes away from the human element of the game.
There's just something, Coach, that just doesn't feel right yet about instant replay in the Canadian Football League, because our game is so much about spontaneity and things happening very quickly. And if you get through it, you got to educate the fans so they know that these breaks in the game are going to be there, and there's a reason for these breaks in the game. But, it's not a perfect system. It's been proven to be an imperfect system. But the one time that I do want to see it is anything determining playoff positioning or in playoff games. Absolutely. But during the regular season, I don't know, Chuck. I'm just not sold yet.
Yeah, well, I think it should be all the time, guys. And I disagree with you both a little bit on this point. And that, here's the situation. The reffing in this league is subpar. That's just a reality. Now, you heard the commissioner talk about recruiting. That's one way you can raise the level of officiating. Oh, well, here's the reality of it. If you're out there recruiting and you haven't got a whole lot of money to entice people into that particular activity, well, you're only going to get a certain number of people to choose from. Look, in the NFL, they give these guys tons of money. It's a full-time salary they get. So if you want better officiating, you have to pay for it. If you don't want to pay for it, bring in video replay and help these guys out, because that's all they need. They're doing a great job. They work as hard as they can, but the reality is that they can't always get it right, and this will help them.
Well, the good news is the league does not have its head in the sand about this issue. It is an issue that needs to be addressed. You heard them say they've tripled their budget. They're going to go out and try to fix this so guys like Joe don't blow gaskets on more of a regular basis when they're trying to win. Yeah,
had a heart attack.
They're trying to win football games. We are going to take another quick break here on CFL Live at the Grey Cup, and when we come back, we're going to give you an off-the-field look at the reigning outstanding Canadian in the CFL, Jason Claremont.
I'll never give up.
I cannot be stopped. That is it! Yes!
I'm electrified. How would I describe myself?
The touchdown toss.
Smooth.
He got it! Leroy Salmon.
I'm a firecracker. I got a short fuse, baby. Give me the ball.
I'm just freestyling, baby.
Man, you get all fired up watching those things, getting ready for the big game on Sunday between the Lions and the Argos. Welcome back to CFL Live at the Grey Cup. As we mentioned earlier on in the show, Lions slot back Jason Claremont was named Most Outstanding Canadian last night at the CFL Awards, and I don't think this guy's that popular right now in his hometown. The Regina native made a key play late in last Sunday's West Final that enabled the BC Lions to tie that game, send it to overtime, and ultimately punch their ticket to the Grey Cup. Farhan Lalji now with an up-close look at a rising star in the CFL.
On the football field, Jason Claremont is a throwback.
He has Claremont. Oh, what a move! The break up, touchdown! Jason Claremont, a beauty!
He is the Lions' go-to guy when the game is on the line. His game can be described as physical, even messy.
And there's Claremont, breaks one tackle inside the 20, still going.
But at home, things are a little different.
I used to be really, really meticulous about, being clean and stuff like that. And, I lived with Javi last year, and he kind of, wore me down a little bit with some of his habits. So I'm a little bit better now. I like my place to be a place where, my friends can come hang out and not be worried about using a coaster all the time, but they do have to use a coaster sometimes. This is a huge feature right here. So we can sit in here and eat and make fun of the guys who are playing video games. I got to keep it honest, though. So keep me honest. I'll get it to Randy Mizza.
That's made in Canada, baby. That's made in Canada.
Basically, anything that has a maple leaf on it, I usually buy. I really love my country, and I try to, buy anything I can and wear it around. If it's got a maple leaf on it, I usually get it. Might be the only guy in the CFL with stuffed animals in my bed, too.
A big guy like you over the middle take all those shots when you hang out with teddy bears?
I got to. After taking, some of the hits that I take over the middle, I got to cuddle up with my teddy bears at night.
So Claremont has his game, his home, his country, and his girl?
How about the expression vampire slayer?
Big fan of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the TV show.
Okay, Vessel boy. You want blood?
This is my Buffy collection. I got Buffy games. I got the calendar, the doll, the comics.
What's that over there?
That's the Buffy soundtrack right
No,
there.
in front of that.
I don't know. I think it's a rag or maybe an eye patch or something. I don't know.
Okay. So how'd you get into all this?
Basically, I dated a girl, and she left for Australia. And the only time we could communicate was really late at night. The only thing on TV was Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Started watching it because I thought the girl was pretty. Next thing I knew, I was hooked, and I loved the show. If you ask anybody, they'll tell you I'm a little bit weird. I do a lot of odd things. Playing football is different. I think that that locker room is kind of like a phone booth, and when you put that helmet on, it's kind of like putting on Superman's cape. You turn into a different person. You maybe have a little bit of an alter ego, and that helmet, you get an ultra sense of confidence. It's been what I've been doing since I was 8 years old, and I'm very confident under the football helmet.
Beautiful play by Claremont. Jason Claremont down the sidelines. Claremont, touchdown!
Here's Joel Jason's full of surprises off the field. Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
A fastidious Buffy the Vampire
Oh,
Slayer.
yeah,
Lover.
everything laid out there. Let's let the slot back talk about this slot back on the field.
Yeah, well, you know, David, when I'm evaluating a receiver, I look for three things. First thing is, does he catch the ball? If I was a coach in this league, someone who consistently dropped the ball wouldn't play on my football team. Second thing, does he get open in man-to-man coverage? That's key. And then third is yards after the catch. If you throw him 2nd and 10, throw him the 5-yard out, will he get a first down for you? Now, Jason Claremont, he has now got all three things. He is the full package. I love watching this guy play, despite the fact he's a Buffy lover, Chris. I think he is the next Ray Elgard in this football league.
Well, I hope he's a good blocker, too, because I think that is his single biggest skill. When you look at the BC Lions, they run a lot of formations, and in a lot of those formations, Jason Claremont's the guy. And the two tight ends said he's one of the tight ends. In that bunch formation, he's the guy at the top. He has to be the point of attack guy. And on the wham play, he's the guy that goes in motion right on down, and then he hits Noah Cantor, going from that motion position to Noah Cantor's position at nose tackle. I think if Jason Claremont has a great day, point of attack blocking goes a long way for a BC Lion victory day.
Schulte, you know why Joe's not saying anything? They could have drafted him a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
He was available.
Now you know. Now we know why he didn't. Look how neat his house is. You can't have your slot back with a neat house like that.
I think he would have put up with that.
Well, Dave, you know, 2002, you know, with our expansion year, we had an opportunity to draft Jason. There were some outstanding other athletes, Alex Gauthier and Mike Villamick, where we decided to draft 1 and 2. And there's probably a reason why I'm standing behind this desk right now because of that. But you know what? You know, kudos to him. The Rookie of the Year, the Canadian Player of the Year as well. You know what? What a great start to his career. He's got a big future ahead of him.
No kidding. Not a bad first 2 seasons for Jason Claremont. Time for one last break, and then we'll come back to Ottawa. You're watching CFL Live at the Grey Cup. Please join us Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. 60-minute show for you. CFL Countdown, the night before the Grey Cup. All you need to know about the 92nd Grey Cup Classic. All right, Joe, Saturday, walkthroughs for both teams. What are they going to try to accomplish tomorrow?
Dave, you're exactly right. You know, it is a walkthrough. You know what? They're going to call out all the different units, the offense, defense, short yardage, goal line. And, you know, anybody that's late, you know what? They're going to make fun of them. Because, you know, any mistake, you know, is going to be costly once the game starts.
You know what? I like those walkthroughs before the game because all you really did is just get it together, that fine mentality, and start visualizing what you want to do. And you got to visualize success. Don't visualize any kind of negative plays. If you got a negative play in your head, just shake it away like that. Just get it out of your head.
But as coach
Kramer.
As coach said, though, they call out the teams and they'll say, okay, second unit punt team. And if you're over there yucking with your buddy on the sideline and you're not out there, oh boy, day before the Grey Cup, that's a bad feeling.
Schulte, you know what's coming up next on TSN?
What?
You and me.
All right, baby.
Coming up next on, you know, this is a great show. Check this out. Especially if you're a football fan from the Ottawa area. Schulte and I had the opportunity to sit down with a lot of former Ottawa Rough Riders and talk about their Grey Cup memories and playing here. So that's coming up next on TSN. On behalf of Chris and Joe and Jock and our entire crew here in Ottawa, thanks for watching, everybody. You are watching TSN, Canada's football leader.